Hey, do you think I can win a race against supercars and concepts in my
Three,
Sport Compact?
two,
Let's try it.
one, go!
So this is Need for Speed 3 Hot Pursuit running on Windows 10. All the relevant modern patches and silent patches installed. I'm playing this with a Xbox Series X controller. There's upgrades to all the game's default and official add-on cars that people have made over the years for this game. Those have been installed. I'm also running some mods by a Japanese guy who many claim was a Polyphony Digital employee who went out and modded NFS 3 Hot Pursuit in his spare time because he liked the game. There's about 300 additional cars you can get for this game that all match the vanilla game's art style, including this 1996 to 2001 Chevrolet Cavalier Z24. Not quite my race car, it's the generation prior, so it doesn't have the Ecotec motor that was in the Vauxhall VX220 and Opel Speedster, but it's close enough for what we're doing. We're getting flanked and now passed by a Lamborghini Diablo SV, and we are making do with what we have right now. And that's because this game actually has a surprising amount of tuning sliders. You know, this is something you probably missed when you were 8 years old playing this for the first time. But there is a car tuning section, and you can set stuff like cam timing, tire grip, suspension, brake bias, downforce even. Yeah, not sure what we're doing downforce on this car. Putting some Bondo to flare out the fenders a bit, but whatever. Which makes this challenge a bit viable, and you know, it's kind of fun. Two Diablo SVs were fighting for the lead now. How does this game drive? How does this game play? Like I said, I'm playing it with an Xbox Series X controller and a bunch of modern patches installed. Depending on the car setup, it can be kind of floaty and kind of unresponsive, but that's, for this particular challenge anyway, that's down to my car setup. It's a good, solid 90s arcade racer. To me, it drives very similar to Race Driver Grid, the first one. The cars have this really radical swing to them. It's not slip angle, it's just this giant yaw to them. That's either more or less severe depending on the suspension settings you use, and yeah, it's really not terrible. This is a game you can easily have installed and bomb around in for 15 to 20 minutes at a time, just doing stupid races like this, while you're waiting for something else, waiting for something to download, waiting for a sim race to go off, or just hanging with your buddies on Discord. Games like this are pretty timeless. I know some people really turn their noses up at either emulators or playing games from their youth, games from their childhood, but I do not do that. I have a lot of classic stuff installed with like relevant modern patches for each game because as far as I'm concerned, a good game's a good game. I don't go as far back as NES or Super Nintendo stuff because it's a bit before my time and the games are pretty primitive. So like I don't have this like lust for Super Mario All-Stars on the SNES. But I love my classic stuff. You don't have to stop playing it. This is one of those games you don't have to stop playing. It's very easy to get running on Windows 10. And you pretty much just have to Google Abandonware NFS 3 Hot Pursuit. You'll find a full game download. Google NFS 3 Modern Patch. You'll find an easy download and instructions. Google Silent Patch for NFS 3 Hot Pursuit. You'll find it. Google car replacements, or I think there's a YouTube video literally called Better Cars for NFS 3 Hot Pursuit. Guy has a Google spreadsheet with links to everything. And I believe it's nfscars.net or NFS add-ons or something to that effect that hosts all the add-on content ever made for this game. Basically sort by the one Japanese guy. His name's quite obvious. It's got the most downloads for everything, and you can just start throwing stuff into your game and playing it, you know, essentially an HD remaster of NFS 3 Hot Pursuit, which is really, really cool, really, really fun. Love when people do that for old games. I've got a few games like that. NFS 2 SE and NFS High Stakes also have this sort of community and this sort of remaster project around them. So just as I'm playing this game in a 1080 resolution, 16 by 9, game looks upscaled, textures look really good. Same kind of deals exist for NFS 2 SE and as well as High Stakes. I think there's probably something for Porsche Unleashed too. I wasn't a big fan of Porsche Unleashed, so I don't have it installed. Maybe I'll fuck with it at one point though. Right? All this stuff's abandonware. Halfway through the race and we are fucking flying right now. As I said, I believe this game launched just as I was getting out of kindergarten and going into first grade, so like this is perpetually tied into my youth. Not so much as Monster Truck Madness 2 and NHRA Drag Racing from Moto1.net, Tantrum Entertainment were. This is probably a close third though. I played this game a lot. The tracks are just really, really memorable and really easy to memorize.
Lap 3.
How do I describe this? You know, when you're a kid learning how to play video games for the first time, or getting good at them for the first time, what really matters, is, especially in a racing game, that the tracks are memorable and easy to recognize and have specific landmarks to help you know where you were. I think that's the one thing NFS did really, really well, is that even as a kid, you know, you still have a developing brain. It was easy to run these tracks, just a few laps at each, and kind of figure out where you were and know where you were. NFS is really good for that. What a lot of people forget, too, about the era this game launched is that NFS was not the only racing game on the block. Now, I didn't own a PS1. I had an N64, so this was kind of outside of my domain, and yes, Gran Turismo existed at this point in time and was blowing the doors off everybody. Need for Speed was in a battle with Infogrames and Pitbull Syndicate's Test Drive series. Remember, Test Drive was originally a DOS franchise, 1, 2, 3. They took a few years off and came back with Test Drive 4 in '97, and that was Need for Speed's big rival. And they were essentially the same game. Supercars, muscle cars, classic cars, whatever, on public roads that were closed circuits or sprint tracks in Test Drive's cases, offering almost identical gameplay. And there was never really a clear winner as to who was going to, you know, take over the arcade racer or simcade racer crown at that point in time. And for a few years it was an even fight. Hot Pursuit 3, I think, came out the same year as Test Drive 5, which was really good, probably the best in the series, as well as Demolition Racer. A lot of people forget about that game, but it was a spin-off of the Test Drive franchise using like Demo Derby cars. It was like their take on Destruction Derby. Both were really good games and gave Need for Speed 3 Hot Pursuit a run for its money. Where NFS started to edge ahead was the following year, in 1999. These guys put out High Stakes, which had 3D rendered car interiors as well as mechanical and physical body damage. Whereas Test Drive 6 was a big swing and a miss from Infogrames and Pitbull Syndicate. They just never got better. So we're on one to go here. I can't believe we're actually about to do this. Again, I put more setup work into this than you'd think. There is 8 or 10 tuning sliders that cover everything from cam timing to tire grip to suspension to brake bias to downforce, stuff like that. And that has allowed us to take a bit of a lead on, I think that's a Diablo SV behind us. Yellow Diablo SV. We're going to throw a cheeky block here to get them to check up. The AI are somewhat intelligent in this game, and if you block them too often, they'll actually start flashing their lights and honking at you, which is kind of cool. We have a shot here. We have a very good shot. Getting a little intense during the final sector of the final lap here. I didn't think I'd have this much of a lead, but it's working. Yeah, fun game to have installed for 15 or 20 minute races at a time. I'm really having to work to keep the revs up here. Yeah, getting this game installed is just a matter of finding the Abandonware link, finding the modern patch, finding the silent patch, finding the Better Cars patch, which is a YouTube link that just came out maybe a couple days ago, and you have a very good arcade racer. Not without its flaws, though. I mean, we just want to race at Empire City in a Chevy Cavalier, but it is what it is.
You placed first.